Hello, my name's Gavin. This is Genre Books, and I don't know if it's so much of a confession, but it just has been the case that I've had a big Brontë-sized hole in my reading. I could name the Brontes. I could probably name all the books. And I've read Wuthering Heights, but I've not got beyond that. And it was because I really didn't know much about it. I knew that they were good books. I knew that they are classics. I knew that they are absolute canon. I didn't know the story behind them until I went to Haworth. I have come away from that trip enthused and enraged in fairly equal measure. I'd enjoyed Wuthering Heights when I read it. It's a few years back now. But I hadn't got any further. There was so much of the story which I hadn't appreciated or just hadn't known about. I think I thought they were from more of a privileged background than they were. And I'm not overplaying it. They did have some privileges that other people at the time absolutely did not have. And first and foremost with this is they had an education. Their father, I think, created his first school at the age of 16. He was a big believer in education. And I found myself getting angry that more people at the time could not have enjoyed this same thing. So, 3 cheers for state education, as bad as it can be sometimes. Just editing myself in here, I remembered one thing which made me angry. There is a display in the church of Bronte related stuff, as you would expect. And my wife pointed out to me on the marriage certificate, so Charlotte Bronte married the curate of the church. Her occupation is not given. At this point, she's a best-selling author. At this point, she is probably making more money than her husband and feels either she has to or is mandated to keep this to herself. So yeah, I got annoyed on her behalf. I also knew that 2 of the sisters had died young, but I hadn't appreciated that this really was the tip of the iceberg, not only in their own family but in their community. I didn't know much about Branwell Bronte, but I knew that he was there and I knew that he had died as well. So you have 3 of the 4 siblings. I didn't know that there were another 2 elder Bronte sisters, Maria and Elizabeth, both of whom had died before adolescence. And their mother had also died. And looking around the graveyard in Haworth is a sobering experience. Looking at the ages at which people died. Some people live to a ripe old age. You don't see many people dying in their 40s, 50s. You see a lot of women dying around the age that they're bearing children. So you think that's obviously an increased risk factor. But the amount of children who are buried there, babies, yes, but lots of children, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And the gravestones have room on them for 3 or 4 children each. Whole families die. There obviously was more infant mortality in the Victorian era, but Haworth seems to have been a really special case, and an unfortunately special case. Something which the Brontes actually campaigned on was improving the sanitation of the vicinity. The water came down from the streams, off the moors, through the graveyard to through the graveyard to the place where the communal water was taken. Just riddled with disease and a self-perpetuating machine, because you just bury more people there, water filters through. You can certainly see where some of the darkness, and I am only talking about Wuthering Heights here because that's the only book I've read, it's the only one I'm able to speak to at the moment. Walking through the house that they grew up, you could see that it's fairly well appointed, but it still comes across as somewhat threadbare. They do have stuff, but there is no mass production here. Everything is special because it costs money. If you ever wondered why that the writing in their children's books is so small, is because paper is scarce. Some of their writing, particularly in journals, is written down the page is turned on its 90-degree angle and written again, so that you're able to use the same sheet of paper twice. Doesn't make for the easiest reading, but if you need to get your words onto paper and there's no paper, what are you going to do? We had a very brief taste of what life walking on the moors. It was only a few hours walk up there and back to Top Withens, but by the time you get to the farmhouse, which is supposedly the inspiration for Wuthering Heights, you find yourself completely cut off from civilization. You are alone up there. A couple of other walkers, obviously. But by that point, barely even a tree. You can hear, hidden in the moorland, the occasional red grouse, but other than that, there is hardly any even wildlife up there. By that point, we'd left the sheep far behind in the pastures below. Just a lonely, poky little farmhouse on the crest of a hill in the middle of nowhere. And this was on a reasonably nice day. I can't imagine what that's like in the depths of winter. I don't have to, because it's in Wuthering Heights, but you certainly feel it. Anyway, I don't have much to say on this other than I am a convert, and I'm a convert before even reading the bulk of the books. But I do want to be reading those books now. I didn't before. I'm a happy convert. I'm not evangelical yet. We'll see how we get on. But thank you, Victober. It's these booktube events ignite or reignite interest in things that you didn't know about or you knew about and had forgotten. Not much more to say after that. I think the Wuthering Heights reread is going to be the first on my list, but if anyone has suggestions of what I should tackle after that, please let me know. Until next time.